Hi for Connect. Welcome to your writing tasks today. This is for Monday and Tuesday, and you'll be writing a newspaper article about Captain Cook. On Wednesday and Friday, you can write your own newspaper. Now, the reason we were doing a newspaper, because while we're doing integrated studies and looking at the time period, they didn't have TV and video, they didn't have cameras, but they did have newspapers. So printed newspapers began in the 1700s. So in 1770, when Captain Cook was exploring the Southland on board ships, they would have had newspapers that were printed and all the news got out to the town. Young children sold them in the streets, and big headlines shared exciting news. Now have a think. How does your family get the news today? Maybe it's by TV or on the computers, internet, radio, newspaper, or website. What news do you get by word of mouth? So that could be maybe visiting people down at the shops or friends that would tell you stories about what's going on in the news. How does each form change how you interpret the news? That might mean that when you hear the news on TV is different to when you hear the news from your friend or from your parents. It might be explained differently, or even bias. Sometimes we get one side or one point of view rather than just facts. Now here's an example of a headline. You can see the title of the paper. They'd have the date there, what edition it is. Here, this is really important. They put big headlines to get everyone's attention. All drowned but 868. About 1,232 lost lives in the Titanic's plunge. Greatest sea disaster for years. So that would make me want to read about the Titanic. So you can see that that was really important for people to have newspapers. Now, when we're writing a newspaper article, there's some things that we might need to consider. The structure of a newspaper article is quite important. The newspapers aren't structured like a novel or a narrative or an information report, say like you would just giving facts, or even magazines. They're a little bit different. First of all, the newspapers are formatted or typed into columns, where one article may take up 3 or 4 columns across the page. You can see one here. After the headline we've talked about a bit, and this has to be short and strong and inform the readers what the article is about. It needs to draw in your attention and make you want to pick up that paper and buy it. Number 2, you need a byline, and that's just the author, like your name. So you can see here, there's one on there. Then number 3, you need to work out your content. That's the information found in the article. Now we've got our content today. It's on Captain Cook, and it's from your reading this morning for Monday. It's also on your reading just before you'll find the Old British Times page. There's some more information on Captain Cook. Start your first paragraph with 5 answers. So you're going to orientate your reader who, what, when, where, and why, and how. Give them some background of what they're going to read about. Then explain the event in time order. So we would go through with Captain Cook what happened first. Write short, concise, which means sort of simple paragraphs, perhaps only 2 or 3 sentences long. You need to remember that the main focus of a news article is to give unbiased information. Now, you can put a little bit of your opinion, but there's no I think and we like. So you're not giving your opinion, but lots of facts. And limit unnecessary language, so not too many long phrases and not too many adjectives. Your focus is on describing the topic. Okay, number 6, try to include a quote or witness account. You could write a short sentence in speech like, a crew member, Mr. Solander, told us our voyage south was treacherous and dangerous with wild storms. So you could just put one little quote, if you like, from someone, and you can make that up because we don't know what people said. Lastly, finish with a closing sentence to sum up the event. So this is a great event for British history, or this is a once-in-a-lifetime voyage that has changed the world forever. Something like that would finish it up. So let's go through. I'll explain some of it for you, but I'll let you write your own article. So you might want to get some ideas, or if you're not sure where to start. I've talked about headlines. I'm going to choose a headline maybe that's exciting. Maybe Cook's brave voyage to the Southland. Cook's brave or successful voyage to the, I don't need capitals for those words, but the others need to be capital, the Great South Land. Now the date would be when he gets back, and it says over here in my information July 1771. So I'm going to make sure that it would be maybe June or a date at the end of July. So I'm going to put, oh sorry, not June, that wouldn't be ready. Sorry, July, and maybe a later date. So the 28th of July, 1771. Sorry, it's a bit messy. The byline would be your name. So I'm going to put Reporter L. Bardsley. Then I'm going to start with an introduction, who, what, when, where. And I need to get sort of to the important part. And probably the most important thing is that he has found a new land, or he's claimed New Holland for England. So maybe we can put an exciting moment in history this week when the Endeavour returned to England and Captain Cook has found a new country for the British Empire. So we could put maybe this amazing or incredible. So that's a bit of personal opinion, but that's okay. This incredible voyage took 2 years just come back and fix that. This incredible voyage took 2 years, and Cook and his crew discovered exciting new lands, because remember they went to New Zealand too. So that might be my introduction. It's just giving who and a general overview. I do want to mention that he's claimed a new country, or found a new country, or has claimed New Holland. I could put in there, has claimed New Holland, because they would have heard about that place before, for the British Empire. So then when I give details, I've already written some in for you. I'd be looking over here. I might want to take my pen out and just note those things that happened. Now, that was when he set off. He set off in 1770, but it was actually 1769 at the end of that. But the first thing that he did, and we want to mention this, is that so part one is that he went to Tahiti, and that would probably come in here. So part one is he went to Tahiti and he observed or watched planet Venus cross in front of the sun, and this was a rare or a special event, and taught us a lot about space, so you could expand on that a little bit. Then part two, after Tahiti, we want to explain that he went to New Zealand. Then part three, we would say that he came and landed in New Holland. That was on the 29th of April. Then part four, we might want to mention about his ship getting damaged at the Great Barrier Reef and he stopped. Part five, we want to say that he went to the top of Cape York, and here, so later that year, he claimed Australia for Britain. So up the top there, there's a place called Possession Island. Then you probably don't need to mention this bit here, and then you can just say he returned home after a successful journey, and now we have know more about this Great South Land. He also called it New South Wales. You might have read that somewhere, so you can say he's given it a new name. So let's have a look at what I've written here, and you can do your own. In 1769, Captain Cook and his skillful crew members, now that's an adjective. You don't have to put adjectives on. You don't want too much descriptive writing, but it might help to put a little bit. So Captain Cook and his skillful crew members set sail to study the planet Venus pass across the sun. This was a rare and special, so I'm giving my opinions, but that's just going to add to my paper. Astronomical, so astronomy, astronomical sighting in Tahiti. Now you can put it in your own words or just write this one. The Endeavour ship sailed to Tahiti for scientific observation. So you can copy part of this. Remember, you want it in your own words, but you can definitely take sentences out of that information. Then when I put a new paragraph, I'm just going to put a bit of a space. So after Tahiti, then I'm going to mention New Zealand. After his great sighting, Cook set off on a secret mission from the king, so I've added that in because it was a secret envelope and a mission from the king, to explore the unknown, that should say New Holland. New Holland. The Endeavour explored the North and South Island of New Zealand first. Write that in first. Maybe take out that bit full stop. The crew came in contact with fierce warrior tribes called Maori people. Okay, so then I'd stop that bit about New Zealand, take a new paragraph, and then mention about when he finally set foot on Australia. So then on the 29th of April, after they sighted it, the Endeavour sailed into a place called Botany Bay on the east coast of New South Wales. This was the first time an Englishman or Englishmen, first time, I should say and we'll put Englishmen has set foot on New Holland. So remember, the Dutch had gone there before then. The crew mapped the east, and we can write coast, just adding to this, of New Holland or New South Wales, they called it, after Wales in England, and travelled north. Full stop. Then got to take that out, that's accidentally doubled. So after I draw a picture, I can do a caption. So I might draw a picture of the Endeavour or landing at Botany Bay, and I'll write landing at Botany Bay. So I'll just continue with my article. I'm going to come down to here. So they brave crew survived damage to their ship at the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, months later, the Endeavour, capital letter, Endeavour. Check your spelling all the time when you're doing this and look back on your pages of information. Months later, the Endeavour was badly damaged on the Great Barrier Reef. Now remember, they didn't have any maps, so they didn't know when they were going to hit reef, and you couldn't even see the reef, which goes on for kilometres. Badly damaged on the Great Barrier Reef. Luckily, the crew were safe and able to fix the ship and sail on. So I could just leave it there. Then I do want to mention about Cooktown, because it was at the top there, Cape York. They named it Cooktown after Cook, but it's also up the top there that he claimed Australia for Britain. Now it would have been called New Holland. They called that area Possession Island, possession meaning you own something. This is how this voyage changed the future for New Holland. Okay, at the end, so we'd write at the end of their brave journey,